Live from the Script Studios, this is 10 News.
She was still awake, but you could tell she was scared and in shock.
A dangerous night at Sunset Cliffs. A woman fell from the cliffs to the beach below. Then two men were pulled from the water. Good evening, I'm Kimberly Hunt. And 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo shows us these rescues come after pleas to shut down the cliffs due to large crowds.
Last week, City Council member Jennifer Campbell called for the cliffs to close due to the large crowds gathering, oftentimes not following social distancing orders. The first rescue happened just before 6 Tuesday evening. A 23-year-old woman falling from a cliff at Ladera Park.
We just see her just a body just fall. And at first I didn't even think it was real.
Isabel and her friends saw the woman fall and comforted her until first responders arrived.
Yeah, she would go in and out, and then we'd just be like, okay, keep breathing, you're okay. And then we prayed over her, and yeah, I think she'll be okay.
Witnesses say the woman fell 30 to 50 feet from the cliff to the sand. Lifeguards say she was unresponsive but was breathing when they took her away to the hospital. The second rescue less than 2 hours later, about a half a mile north. Lifeguards say two men ages 20 and 22 from Los Angeles came down to an area locals call No Surf Beach, known for its dangerous rip currents. The men got caught in a current and started swallowing water. Lifeguards able to respond quickly because they had just finished with the earlier rescue.
The rip current is very strong here. If you're not familiar with it, it's going to catch you.
All three people rescued were taken to local hospitals. We are still working on getting an update on their condition. Laura Acevedo, 10 News.
There is now a roadmap to reopen San Diego's social scene. The governor laid out the guidelines for reopening dine-in service in restaurants and how bars and wineries can open their doors. It's part of our new series, The Rebound. 10 News reporter Anthony Perez spoke with business owners on how they will make the new rules work for them.
The state guidelines for reopening restaurants, bars, and wineries are focused on controlling large numbers and limiting contact, so many establishments have to reinvent their business model to follow the rules. Bernardo Winery has a tasting room, restaurant, and enough space for big events, but business as they know it came to a halt when the pandemic hit.
Things are changing, day by day or week by week now.
Owner Ross Rizzo Jr. has been working on a plan for reopening safely, and he says it is in line with state direction released Tuesday. The guidelines include employees having their temperatures taken and using personal protective equipment. Outdoor seating should be prioritized and reservations encouraged. Customers are asked to order ahead of time and wait in their cars until they're seated. Frequent cleaning is required, as well as social distancing measures while dining in. For Bernardo Winery, there's talks of only taking reservations at first.
I'm going to change it back to kind of my father's winery, where it's just like a handful of people and we just get to hang out and enjoy bottles of wine, and there maybe isn't that much more overhead, right? Like there isn't as much as it was when you have 250 people hanging out. It just might change it, so we'll see.
The state wants bars and wineries to remain closed unless they offer food, in which case alcohol can be sold with the meal. But those that don't offer food can contract with vendors to do so. That means Bernardo Winery's tasting room can reopen because customers can order food from the kitchen. But it's a different situation for Serpentine Cider.
It's been crazy since we had to shut our doors.
Owner Sean Harris says his cidery in Miramar has been limited to order and pickup of crowlers. Despite it all, they've pushed through to open a second location in University Heights. The first location serves food. The second is a tasting room without a kitchen. The plan was always to get food trucks there. That may also be the key to reopening that location.
If we can get a food truck out front, we can hopefully open our doors. We have a patio in both locations. Outdoors always better than indoors.
But it's hard to put any plans in motion. Harris says he wants to hear more details.
We're waiting to see what we can and can't do.
The state hasn't mentioned a date of when restaurants can let people back in. A lot of it depends on local coronavirus metrics meeting the state criteria. Rizzo says 52 employees were furloughed when they closed their doors, and they're anxious to get back to work.
We'd probably have to bring back 5 to 10 right off the bat.
Anthony Pura, 10 News.
The fall semesters at San Diego State and Cal State San Marcos will likely be completely online. According to the Union Tribune, the Cal State system will have very limited exceptions for classroom learning. Today, 10 News spoke with a Poway High School senior who was looking forward to beginning her college experience at State in the fall.
Social-wise, rooming in the dorms, everything that it has to offer through different programs and clubs, and so many different things that I was looking forward to getting involved in.
SDSU transitioned to online learning last month. Today, Dr. Anthony Fauci said treatments and vaccines probably won't be available in time for the fall semester. Here now are the latest numbers. Our 3-day streak of no new deaths came to an end today. The county reported 15 more, bringing our total to 190. There are also 96 new confirmed cases, bringing that number to 5,100. LA County is extending its stay-at-home order until August. The county's current order ends Friday. Today, the Board of Supervisors advised extending it for 3 more months unless it sees dramatic changes in reported cases. Select businesses are open for curbside pickup, and beaches will reopen tomorrow for active recreational use. San Diego County's stay-at-home order is in place indefinitely. Meantime, some county workers will soon get to return to the office, but county leaders say teleworking will still be encouraged wherever it's a viable option.
We will begin phasing in some return of county employees back into county operations, with some beginning as early as this Friday and continuing into the coming weeks in a phased approach. There won't be any offices that serve the public on this Friday.
Supervisor Fletcher says the county will also be updating what offices are open and staffed on a regular basis. And San Diego is stepping up to help the growing crisis in Tijuana. The border city is suffering from a large surge of COVID-19 cases. And today, Mayor Faulconer announced 1,000 face shields for hospital workers are on the way.
This virus knows no boundaries. Helping our first responders, our medical professionals in Mexico, is ultimately going to help keep us safe here in San Diego.
Today, it is proven that Tijuana and San Diego are bound together. In this, and we are united and stronger than ever, combating this COVID-19 that has affected both cities.
The face shields are being made with 3D printers at San Diego County libraries. The project produced and donated more than 1,600 shields in the past month. Well, 10 News has reported on the toxic waters of the Tijuana River flowing north into San Diego for many years. In 2018, I took the findings of the Regional Water Control Board showing dangerous chemicals and sewage in the water to lawmakers. National attention has grown, and today a huge move by the government will finally address the problem. The EPA plans to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to fix cross-border sewage issues plaguing the South Bay. It's part of the USMCA trade agreement. Today we learned $300 million is committed to water infrastructure along the border. Much of it will go to wastewater treatment facilities in the Tijuana River Valley. Dr. Anthony Fauci warned today that if states don't follow government guidelines, they risk an outbreak they may not be able to control. That came during a hearing on Capitol Hill, but as ABC's Romina Puga reports, the urge to reopen is growing stronger.
Testifying from home, the nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, with a stark warning to states that are rushing to reopen without meeting federal guidelines.
There is a real risk that you will trigger an outbreak that you may not be able to control, which in fact, paradoxically, will set you back.
Republican Senator Rand Paul challenging Dr. Fauci.
As much as I respect you, Dr. Fauci, I don't think you're the end all. I don't think you're the one person that gets to make a decision.
I have never made myself out to be the end all and only voice in this. I'm a scientist, a physician, and a public health official. I give advice according to the best scientific evidence.
Democrats and Republicans on the committee agreeing that the key to reopening safely is testing. President Trump boasting that the U.S. has tested a larger percentage of the population than South Korea. Republican Senator Mitt Romney ripping apart his claim.
But you ignored the fact that they accomplished theirs at the beginning of the outbreak, while we treaded water during February and March. So partially as a result of that, they have 256 deaths and we have almost 80,000 deaths. I find our testing record nothing to celebrate whatsoever.
Dr. Fauci also noting a rare condition in children possibly linked to COVID-19, Kawasaki disease. 9-year-old Bobby Dean was hospitalized with a fever, rash, and red eyes. He couldn't hold down food.
He was just crying out in pain anytime anyone went near his belly. His belly hurt so bad.
Bobby is now recovering. 13 states are reporting that rare inflammatory syndrome. New York alone investigating about 100 cases.
We've lost 3 children, 5-year-old boy, a 7-year-old boy, an 18-year-old girl.
This as the urge to reopen intensifies. An act of defiance by Elon Musk reopening his California Tesla factory, though local orders said he should wait. Some workers glad to return, others worried. The company touting its new safety measures.
They measure the temperature before we walk in. They give you a mask, you sanitize your hands before you go in.
Musk filed a suit against Alameda County, accusing it of overstepping its authority in issuing a shelter-at-home order. He's now tweeting that if anyone is arrested, he asks that it only be him. In Los Angeles, Romina Puga, ABC News.